Global supply chains have been hindered by the COVID pandemic, with many key industries and workers unable to perform their tasks as normal. It's causing widespread panic and concerns. So what is the solution here? How can this be rectified? Well, Zinn is one of Silicon Valley's longest serving CEOs and an expert on supply chain issues and joins us now for more. Lovely to have your company today. Now, how are global supply chains being impacted by the new Omicron COVID variant?
It's been impacted tremendously. I mean, that's one of the main problems we've had is the pandemic has impacted this entire issue, supply chain, political issues, relationships. It's just been a mess.
Absolutely, and there's so many moving parts, and it starts right at the top, but then it ends up on our shelves. Our shelves are empty in supermarkets, and it creates widespread panic. Are there any expectations of when these delays and product shortages will be rectified?
Well, it's a tough question. As you know, we're trying to predict, when does a pandemic end? So as near as I can tell, it should start improving toward the end of May or middle to end of May is my best guess at this point.
Now, I wanted to ask you, how exactly will the relationship between the US and China impact these ongoing supply issues into the future?
I think it's going to be a big issue. I think that's why you see so many semiconductor companies moving their manufacturing back into the U.S. is because of the issue in China as well as the concerns over Taiwan.
I mean, how do companies, how do consumers, how do you prepare for these kind of shortages?
Well, it depends upon which business you're in. If you can place orders in advance, with the caveat that prices could be higher if you do it that way, especially if the pandemic or the shortages end sooner than your supply reaches your shelf. So it all depends on what kind of business you're in. In my industry, in semiconductors, it's this whole supply chain issue has caused the industry to really be hurting because we didn't carry enough inventory up front to last through a pandemic that would go on for a couple of years. So this is just something that's going to have to be resolved. Everybody's working very, very hard to try to overcome it, though. You can rest assured on that.
Yeah, I mean, and let's speak about the semiconductor shortage, and the chip shortage has been an issue that we've been speaking about during the whole pandemic here, and it's impacting necessities, whether it be technology that we use, whether it be our vehicles. So talk to us a little bit about the solution there. What are you working on at the moment?
Well, so the issue is, of course, is to get caught up. These issues are affecting mainly the consumer area more so than enterprise. So, automotive is badly hurting. And of course, consumer electronics, because the inflation is causing prices to go up by about 15%. And that's really, causing these companies a lot of pain and suffering.
Does more need to be done here to both protect and support the industry? And if so, what measures?
Well, it just depends upon, some of it's political. So the faster we can resolve some of the political issues, I think the quicker we can resolve some of these supply chain issues. So I think it's a good chunk of this problem is all related to political.
Ray, thanks for your insight on this.
You're welcome.